What is going on, you dead set legends, and welcome to the Ready Bag, the number one arm wrestling show on the planet. I am your host, the Aussie Arm Wrestler, and I am joined by the baddest 19-year-old on the planet. He's getting ready for World Championships in about 28 days as this show is being recorded. He is ready to kick some ass, and I'm talking about the Croatian Sensation, Rino Masic. Rino, welcome back to the show, my man.
Hey, Jake, thank you so much for having me.
Mate, absolutely love having you, and I know the arm wrestling world is dying to hear from you because March, late February, you just absolutely rocked the world at King of the Table and annihilated Bacho Saginashvili. What, first of all, mate, what was that feeling like? Your name was synonymous. Reno, Bacho, it's got to happen. So then it finally happens, and then Reno just does what Reno does best.
Yeah, it was incredible. Honestly, I was extremely nervous before the match and even leading up to the match when like Don was calling me and setting up the match. I was really unsure if I was going to be able to like do anything to Bacho. I just thought that his hand would be too much. He would be too explosive for me to be able to stop him. And I kind of went with my gut feeling that I got this. I will prepare well, and we even kind of postponed the match for a little while because I had some obligations considering my university. And then I like prepared really well, but I still had to cut like 8 kilos. And that was as well something that kind of scared me a little bit because I don't know if I was going to be at my like peak strength for the match. But yeah, walking onto that stage, I felt a lot of energy from the crowd and everyone, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is gonna happen, and I gotta give it my best shot, even though I was like terrified inside. I was like, what's gonna happen? What if this happens? I was kind of overthinking a little bit, and it brought me back to the old days of my when I was beginning arm wrestling, and kind of how I got over my fear of overthinking. Is like just go uh, with your like strongest move and see what happens in the match. During the match, change up the technique. Don't think about it too much in the very beginning, and it kind of worked. We kind of both missed the go and were a little bit slower, but that was my plan, to go a little bit slowly and more slowly, and to kind of tire out Bacho, and it worked perfectly. And I was extremely happy, yeah, with the result. Second match was really close, and honestly, I can't believe like that I was able to pull that off. Uh, yeah, just getting my shoulder behind, and man, I have been in similar situations before when I was sparring with my coach, so it was like not an unknown scenario for me. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. If Bacho had a press at that time, I would have been done for. Press is
Oh, really?
yep. The press is getting more and more like prevalent, especially in the like modern era of arm wrestling, let's say. And if you don't have that, you are definitely not a complete arm wrestler. You need that finishing.
Wow, very, very interesting. What were your first thoughts when Bacho turned up to Dubai? Because he looked a lot bigger than what
Yep.
Bacho is used to looking. Because he was kind of like the last one there when we were all hanging about. And then Bacho just kind of walked in. I know I went,
Yep.
you been
Same
stung by
reactions, but
one.
internalized. I had internalized that reaction. Man, I was terrified, honestly. Like, I'm not gonna even like try to pretend like I'm some guy that's like fearless. I sometimes do get a little bit afraid of my opponents, especially if they look as huge as Bacho did at that time. And seeing him go from like 95 kilos to 110 was a crazy transition, and his head was like watermelon, like giant, like a pumpkin. And yeah, his forearms were huge, and like I even took a picture with him. And watching it later, like comparing the size of our forearms, I was just like, am I going to be able to do anything in this match? So yeah, definitely, like I was a little bit nervous, quite a bit
I,
nervous.
I think that makes your win even more impressive. Like he put on 15 kilos, you met around the 110 kilo mark.
Yeah.
I think that makes your win against Bacho even more impressive. That he threw everything at it, and you ended up dominating the match. It was brilliant. And since then, mate, you know you love tournament pulling.
Yep.
You've gone on to win European Championship since then. We'll talk about that in a moment. But once you had beaten Bacho, did the phone calls come through thick and fast about your next super match?
Well, not so soon after the match. I was thinking about, I was just feeling a little bit tired, honestly, from the
Yeah.
super match format. Yeah. And the phone wasn't ringing, like you said, immediately after. And like only after Europeans, maybe a little bit before Europeans, Engin contacted me and asked, do I want to like participate in East versus West before Worlds or after? And I said like definitely after, because I consider Worlds like one of the most important things for me personally in my arm wrestling career. So it's going to be interesting to see who am I going to get like after Worlds. But I suggested, because like Devon and Evgeny Rudnik are getting like removed from the 115 kilo class, so that leaves Matyushenko at number 1 on the right hand, and me second. And I suggested maybe a title match on the right hand with me and Matyushenko. And Engin said like the situation is a little bit complex right now about the whole ranking system and whatnot. So he said that he will see what he can do, and that's one of the matches that I suggested. But we will see what Engin has in store for us and me as well.
Wow. If anyone, for everyone that is watching this, put in the comments, who do you want Reno to take on next at 115 kilos? Do you have a wish list? Like, okay, Matyushenko for the world title. You're all about chasing world titles, whether it's tournament format
Yeah.
or super match format. Do you have a wish list? Like, is there who's in 115 kilos? Is there a Sandras? Do you want a monster Michael Todd
No,
to come back down to
Sanders then
115?
is below me. I don't talk about him anymore. But
Really?
no, I'm just joking. But yeah, I don't really have a wish list right now, but just like progressing in the rankings would be fine. Anyone who's above me or like one step or two steps above is perfectly fine for me. Like I don't know right now how the I'm sorry. I don't know right now like what the rankings look like on the left hand. A left-handed match would be great as well. My left feels amazing. A little bit more worn out than my right hand as of right now, but yeah, anyone above me would be perfect.
Okay. So would you consider, because you sit around the 115 kilos, don't you? That's your usual weight.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you consider going down to 105 kilos and challenging for those rankings, or is that too, like 10 kilos for those playing at home, 22 pounds? That's a lot to drop. But
Yeah.
have you ever thought of that?
I mean, I have given a few thoughts, but like what I usually sit at, my usual weight is at like 120 kilos right now. Uh, yeah, yeah, and I peaked like at 122, 123 kilos.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So for me to cut down to 115, it's a little bit difficult even for like super match formats, but it's even more difficult for tournaments because 110 is my usual class that I go in. So cutting to 105 would be quite challenging and something that I would have to do over a longer period of time, like half a year or a year, to really like nice and slowly cut the weight and to like really get rid of the like fat tissue, from my body, not to like get rid of the muscles or anything like that. So I'd go really nice and slow. So it's something that I definitely considered, but not right now. I actually quite like the 110 and 115 class.
Wow, I didn't even know. Like for those that don't know, Reno and I got to meet in Dubai, and he's even got his own trading card. Reach out to the Aussie arm wrestler if you want a Croatian Sensation trading card. But like, you don't you hold 120, 110 kilos very well. Like, your body structure is phenomenal for that size. I think because every time like we catch up or we talk, I just keep forgetting like how big you actually are.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely started noticing after like 118 kilos, 119, that I'm starting to look quite fat. Yeah, there's like no other way of putting it. Like looking at myself in the mirror, I like God, I have gotten quite fat. It's time to like take some measures and take care of myself a little bit. But yeah, I carry weight quite well, I would say, from like 118 down is perfect for me. But yeah, 120 plus is a little bit too much right now. And maybe in the future, for sure, super heavyweights is something that I'm looking forward to. And I would like to compete in the super heavyweights at some point. But
Ooh.
what I'm like, the biggest challenge for me personally is the size of their hands and wrists. They simply have a huge advantage because like the surface area of their whole hand is like twice as big as mine. um, so my hands, I would say, are like for a category like a 85 kilo guy or a 95 kilo guy, let alone like super heavyweights. So it's quite difficult, but I'm working on my wrist strength, and soon I'll be able to compete with those guys.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. So a couple of questions about the super heavyweight. One, who would you like your first opponent to be in the super heavyweights? Who's someone that you look at and think, geez, we could have a really good match?
That's a good question. Um, hmm, that's a tough one. I think that seeing the match between Morozov and Ivan Matyushenko on the left hand has gotten me a lot more confident into like facing. If I would have to face someone like Morozov, maybe I would be able to give him a little bit of a challenge.
Wow.
Um, yeah, yeah. I think that I'm a little bit more versatile than Ivan, and I could be able to use different maybe angles and different styles of pulling to challenge Morozov in different ways. The only again disadvantage is my wrist strength, which is something that Ivan doesn't need to worry about,
Yeah.
and that's why he was kind of like being always like quite open on the setup, not close and fast on the go with his cupping, because he didn't need to worry about that. But yeah, I think like nobody else really pops into my head right away as much as Morozov does. He's just like an interesting match for me personally.
Oh, fantastic. And second in the super heavyweights, is there who's your how do I want to ask this? Who do you think has the best shot at beating Levan in the super heavyweights?
Um, I think Levan now, because he has developed, as we saw, a flop wrist press, and I believe he's working on a press, is going to be even more difficult to defeat than before, just because he's gotten a little bit more versatile and he can use that press, especially with his huge body size and weight. He can like press 10 times the amount that like someone else could. But I think one of the best shots is definitely Vitali he has a great shot at beating Levana. I think that would be a very interesting match to see. Uh, Alex, I think, is really a good opponent for Levon, but I think he needs a little bit more time to actually be able to really challenge Levon. And Hermes, of course. Hermes is just every day getting even more stronger and stronger, and he would be probably the number one guy that I would put that's going to beat Levon first, if anyone. Then Laletin, and then all the other guys. But Alex, if he would arm wrestle with, if he would have a match with Levon, I think he just needs a little bit more time to beat him.
And then, of course, you when you enter the
Yeah,
super heavyweight
of course,
division.
in like 2 years, something like that. You know what? You know what's like the biggest thing why I say that Alex needs more time. I think that Alex especially benefits from the huge size of his hands, and he loves to take advantage of that. And his opponents have an issue with that, of course. When he's against someone like Levon that has almost the same size, if not even bigger hands than himself, that advantage immediately like disappears, and it's all about strength. It comes down to strength and who's gonna like start faster and be better. I apologize for the motorcycle, but yeah, immediately all of the advantages that Alex has with that hand size, like disappear. So that's why I think he needs more power in general.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, good analysis. Definitely. Worlds, just around the corner, mates. How's the
Yeah,
prep going?
it's going quite well. Strength wise, I think I am really close to breaking some of my PRs, some of my personal bests, and I think my back pressure is at a very good level right now. My hook as well, my cupping, everything is great. I feel quite good. Like there's no pain in my elbows that can kind of set me back in my training right now. The only issue being is my weight. Of course, I am cutting it quite fast. At least I'm trying. Every day I'm doing like cardio for an hour or 45 minutes in like the zone 2, staying in at like a certain heart rate. So I only burn fat. Yeah, I'm eating a lot less, consuming mostly protein, so I can like preserve my muscle mass. And yeah, in general, really good preparation. Super excited. I think I'm going to have a good performance, maybe the best that I've ever had on Worlds. My opponents right now, I don't know who's like the who would be my greatest opponent there. Probably Ali Jan on the right hand if he decides to go to 110 on the right hand, but on the left I don't see anyone really being such a big threat. Maybe on the right hand Sandris could do something, but I saw like some of his training videos and some of the stuff that he's doing, and I think that I don't need to worry about him when he's doing all of that. Uh, they're like the things that he's doing. I personally don't think are that great for developing the power that he needs, that he requires to be like world champ this year.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Nothing wrong with that confidence. I mean, you won the left arm last year. You came third on the right arm. So
Yeah.
don't blame. Don't. And if you think you're stronger than last year, then holy shit, you're gonna have an awesome world's championships. I wonder if you and Alajan on the left arm would be a good super match in the future.
In the future, yes, yeah, that's the key word, future. Right now, it's oof. The more I watch some of his highlights, the more like scared of him I am. Like, stay away from me, dude. You're you're too freaking strong. Like he's crazy. Honestly, like I think one of the best opponents for him right now on the left hand would be Oleg Petrenko. I think Petrenko would do a great job at stopping his surge when he starts to pull. But if he would be able to beat Alijan is super hard for me to determine. Like I haven't honestly seen Alijan get gassed out,
No.
especially on the left hand. I barely managed to guess him out on the right hand, so I can only imagine that his endurance is way better on the left. Yeah, a possible match with me and Alijan could be good. Definitely in a few years, but right now I would keep away from him.
Yeah, he is a dangerous, bad man, that's for
Yep,
sure.
yep.
And then once you become world champion again, what's the plan for the next 6 months? Have you thought that far ahead about your arm wrestling career, or is it just worlds, worlds, worlds?
Well, after Worlds, I would definitely like to have like one or two super matches. That would be pretty cool and something that I would look forward to. And of course, always training. Like I used to take like a month or two off of arm wrestling to rest up and go to my summer house here in Croatia. But ever since I stopped doing that, I noticed that my strength kind of peaked a lot faster. And I don't know. I just prefer training constantly throughout the year, and I think that I'm then outworking most of my opponents that maybe don't have the spare time that I have right now to use to train and to advance. And yeah, so the next 6 months I would definitely like to have a super match or two.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, there it is. It's going to be amazing. Guys, everyone watching this, if you can drop in the comments, you got to do two things. One, you've got to go subscribe to Rino Masic's YouTube channel. And two, can you wish him all the best for the World Championships? Reno, mate, always love catching up with you. We wish you all the best for Worlds in about 28, 27 days.
Yep,
And,
yep.
mate, go over there, kick ass, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. See you.